This is Connecting the Thoughts, a place where women in health and leadership come to reconnect to their body, their truth, and their story. I'm your host, Megan, RN, Somatic Conditioning Coach, and founder of Rhythm Wellness. This podcast is a place to explore the stories behind strong women, the stressors they've carried, the pivots they've made, the ways their bodies have spoken to them, and the somatic practices that have brought them back into rhythm again. Today's guest is Abby Clapper. She is a personal trainer and she specializes working with neurodivergent clients. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yay.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. I'm like, I want to dive right in. This is how I love just getting right into it, and we'll start flowing naturally here.
Yeah.
Tell me, how did you start getting into personal training in the first place? A little bit about your background story.
Yeah, for sure. So I got my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, which is just exercise science, and I did corporate wellness for quite a few years. I think it was probably about 5 or 6 years, which is just managing fitness centers for businesses.
Okay.
So companies would have gyms for their employees, and that's where I started. And I would do personal training there. And then near the end of my time in corporate wellness, I started taking on some clients and also taking clients outside of that. And it kind of was like an unfortunate thing because the client company that I was at was moving buildings and said that they couldn't take me with them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
thankfully it came at a great time because it forced me into my own business.
Okay,
and
yeah,
so that's how
for
I
sure.
started
Blessing in disguise.
the personal training. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really kind of worked out in the moment. I was a little salty, but now it totally worked out how it was supposed to. So
Of course, yes. Thank you for sharing that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I do right there, want to touch right into that. How did you kind of navigate them saying like, that's something not so easy to take, right? That we can no longer take it with you. But again, it opened up a door for you. How did you navigate going through that transition where it's like, okay, now I'm going to do my own thing here?
Yeah, it was very scary.
Yeah.
It was, thankfully, I had taken some personal training clients on the side on my own. So I was working like way more than 40 hours a week. I was doing my 40 in the corporate job. And then outside of that, I was taking on clients. I was driving to clients' homes and doing that on the side as well. So thankfully, between the clients that I had on the side and the ones who I was training within that client, stuck with me after the fact that I was able to kind of crunch the numbers and realize like, I think I can make it if I started on my own, which was so scary. And it's something I never thought that I would want to do. So here we are.
Yes, this is so exciting to hear because a lot of times this is kind of where entrepreneurship, I feel like a lot of us don't start at being an entrepreneur, right? Or with our own business, and one thing leads to another and something either falls apart, right? Or something else could go along the lines, but now it opens a door into something so wonderful and exciting for you. When you were working there and kind of transitioning into your own practice, were you working with neurodivergent clients then, or did you kind of start to niche a little bit more into that?
So it was really funny because I was working with one specific client and she knows who she is and she knows that she inspired me to start doing this because I had told her one day that I wanted to work with runners. I wanted to strength train for runners. And she was like, that's fine and great, but I really think like you have a skill of working with me. And she had like autism and she was like, I think that you would work really well with people who are neurodivergent. Cool. And I was like, that's very sweet of you to say. And in the corporate space, you meet people who are different and you can kind of sense what people need, whether they're neurotypical, neurodivergent, or, varying bodies, whatever, bodies need. And so she said that and she, referred me to a bunch of her friends and that kind of led to just more neurodivergent clients. And I realized like, it's a really fun puzzle that I like to do is that individualization for each person that they need.
I was about to say, you probably definitely have to look at each person and their specifics and what they need on a just day-to-day regular routine, right? Like, yes, the fitness structure of it, but on a deeper level, you kind of get to see them and get to know them. And that is so wonderful that she, you know what I mean? That she even saw that in you. That's like so special because your light really does shine, but it's like, it's affirming to you. I think I'm not speaking for you here, right? But I would feel affirmed that I am doing the right thing here, right? Like someone can see that they are not my normal like client, if you will. And I put normal in air quotes because what is normal, right? But it's not your typical client that you would be dealing with. And so to just have that come right off the jump for you is so exciting. I love hearing this. I think this is so wonderful. Now, when you are working with these clients, do you feel like there is a deeper layer where you want to also be trying things in your own routines, like your own workout routines comparatively to how you work out with them.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because like I've never been diagnosed with a neurodivergence. However, I think that all of our brains are different. All of our brains are like a snowflake or a thumbprint. They're all so unique. So we all need something different, whether we're diagnosed ADHD, autism, or not.
Yeah.
So I find even for myself, I need like the newness, the novelty to keep it fresh. I know people who stick on the same workouts every single day, for years. And unfortunately, that's just not something that works with me. And so I can see a little bit of that in my clients, especially the clients that have like ADHD. Newness and novelty is something really important. It needs to be fresh, it needs to be different, and it needs to be fun. Same with the clients that have autism as well. Like it needs to have enough of a routine, but enough of a difference that it keeps their brain in that like safe space where they feel comfortable, but still getting a little bit of that nuance.
Yeah, they get those little bit of changes, but it's still structured enough that it keeps them in like, yeah, absolutely. And I love that. Thank you for that answer, because where I was getting at that from is it's so, again, air quotes for normal here, right? Because we have so much to learn from these clients. And that's why I'm just curious, like how you've been learning and adapting like your own fitness training, because even for my own clients, right? Like there are things I coach, and yes, I've learned that knowledge, but then when we apply it to self, right? I'm always saying walk the talk as much as you're talking it to like do it. So again, just very fascinated to hear about this and love hearing about this. So I do want to touch a bit about how it was for you. Yes, that was awesome that you had her kind of like start spreading the love, if you will, to gain those clients. What other challenges were you facing in just shifting from a corporate world into like having your own business? What were some other things that you were just dealing with?
The instability of not knowing where your like surefire paycheck is going to come from. As like an entrepreneur, I think that's one of the hardest things is just the inconsistency and the instability. And I thrive on stability. I think a lot of us do. And I think it's very challenging when all of a sudden it's so funny. I talked to a friend who is in a networking group and has done my branding photos, and she had said something. She was talking to her husband about it and said, we basically make money come out of thin air, right, as entrepreneurs, which I think is so funny, but it's also very rewarding. So it's the balance between like, heck yeah, I can do this, but also month to month, it's like, ooh, I feel uncomfortable. Yeah, like this does not feel good. I do a lot of work in therapy, so that's what I'm working on right now is like the discomfort of not adding my value and my worth to the number of clients that I have and the money that I'm making. And so that's been a kind of a struggle that I've been working through.
That's huge. That is massive. Wonderful for you for sharing this and speaking on this too, because I think that's something that is a lot of people just don't talk about, right? That they do deal with, and having to just face like, letting it be, still pushing, but not like holding yourself up on, if it's not this, then I failed. It's almost like an all or nothing type of mind. I've said deal with the same thing. This is where I'm coming from, right? Like this is and thank you for sharing it, because it's so real. Like we are trying so hard. And I think this goes a little bit deeper into like, where we stem from. I'm not speaking again for you, but like perfectionism, right? Where we like, if we don't look like everyone else is, like, has it together, again, air quotes here, because what is together, we see what's online, but we don't necessarily see them in person. And that is something that has been huge for me. And right here, and kind of like dealing with nervous system regulation, right? Like I've had to regulate my own self in these moments. This is again, from my experience dealing with this, because it is so real. Like if I don't have this many clients and I'm working so hard, what am I even saying out loud? Like I am pushing. And again, everyone's journey is going to be their own journey. So I love that you shared this. And I love that we're touching on this, because I'm sure a lot of other people that are going to listen to this are going to face these challenges, right? It's I can say the word capacity a lot, but it's kind of like, we are capable. We are so capable of holding it. It's just like practicing being able to hold it and receive, how I was kind of talking about before this conversation, right? And like allowing it to be, and not like it's such a give and take and a push and pull, and it's one foot in front of the other. Like we just get better at practicing it. So yeah, no.
And you brought up the all or nothing thinking, and that's something that I talk about so much with clients, especially in a workout capacity, kind of like you said, like the all or nothing thinking is what'll hinder us, and especially in both our fitness and I think in our businesses too. Like all or nothing thinking is so toxic, and so being able to really find like that middle ground and there is gray area, right? Yeah, and acknowledging that and being okay in that middle space.
For sure. I think this also, I love this. And on your episode that we did together as well, we talked a little bit about discipline here, right? And how that's such a word that can have a give and take to it, right? It's like, we don't need to be forceful, but this is where, you know, we do have ourselves and we do get to lean on our own power, right? And so it's like keeping ourselves on the right track, but also not going, if it's the track doesn't look like the way I thought it was supposed to look, right? Then, okay, it's all right. And I'm sure you can like test to this with your clients, right? Do they sometimes, like, you tell them, you program them a workout and it's like, you've got that base layer where they do feel safe with you. And so now it's almost like a little, it's a light push and shove, right? But it's like, I don't want to do this. And you're like, I do think this is going to help you though, right? Do you see that come up with your clients?
I do. And there's a point where you can kind of tell, and once you've been working with your clients for enough time, you can kind of sense, you know, whether they really do need a break or whether they do need just like a little push or to have something changed in a way that's going to serve them better. Because sometimes, I mean, realistically, like if someone's having a bad day and they just want to throw in the towel, there's still something that you can do, you know, and I find that a lot with my clients that have chronic conditions too. If they've got, you know, flare-ups or different things like that, you are still able to find something that you can do. It might look low impact, it might look like stretching, but that's still something that's going to help you continue the habit and still make your body feel good, even if it's not what they think it should look like. It's just changing your perspective a little bit there.
No, that's huge. I love that you touched on this because, again, you're meeting the client where they're at versus where they think they should be, right? Or what they are, you know, I should be able to do this. It's like, but the body is saying this right now, right? And you are helping them listen to their own body, which I can only imagine serves them in so many other areas in their life on a day-to-day basis. Like, so amazing. And I did want to ask you, do you feel like it's shifted since you first started working in like a corporate gym compared to how you are now? That is where I really feel like you're saying you see the person, like you see them fully and you see where they're at, right? In their, this is nervous system, right? Like where they just are at in their day, right? What kind of energy are they bringing? And again, it doesn't mean we don't do nothing, but we don't also have to push. And that's why I wanted to bring up your discipline like aspect of that is like, it doesn't have to be so harsh. It doesn't have to be so forceful because that also allows the body to heal and keep moving forward. So do you feel like that shifted in how you kind of coach your clients?
I would say so. I think because especially within corporate, we were programming for the masses essentially. So, you know, we were programming different challenges or things that, you know, everybody would do on their own. And it was always push, 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 go, go, go. We had to be that motivating person. But now, because it's so individualized, you're allowed to hold space for whatever someone's going through. And even in a session. So even if someone, especially in the neurodivergent community, sessions can look different. There are a lot of chronic conditions that go along with neurodivergence. So if someone's body, it can start the session really well, but then all of a sudden the body needs more breaks. It needs to take some time just for regulation, which you know very well. And so it can change in a second, and just having that flexibility to be able to adjust to what they need it's really freeing for me, and it's cool because it's, you know, it's looking at and this is where you and I really bonded, was it's looking at the whole person. Instead of just like that one goal that they had. It's taking the whole picture and looking at it that way and caring for every aspect of them instead of when I was in corporate looking at everyone and trying to program what was best for, you know, this large group.
Like, I thank you for sharing that because that is kind of where I was about to lead it to and where I wanted to ask is that like, it's so different in how you are even able to coach almost. For like you do have somewhat of a freedom inside of a corporate gym, but there are still like parameters you have to follow. There's still like, you know, we do it this, and this way. We program it this way. And it's like, okay, well, that program might work for 50% of these people, but that doesn't mean it works for everyone. And so were you even seeing that when you were in like corporate, like as you started to work with like outside clients, right? And you weren't there, could you even feel like a little difference in how you coach those clients comparatively to how you showed up for the other ones?
I think so. And now that you mention it, thinking back to it, I think a lot more, I mean, there was probably a good split of, you know, neurotypical and neurodivergent who would do the programs. Probably, actually, that's something I haven't really thought about until like this moment because it's still allowed for enough parameters. So it was good for a little bit of both. I would say probably more for someone who's like neurotypical, just because it's a little bit more like self-motivated. We provide the parameters and then they kind of take it and run. Whereas that individualization really helps because everyone's motivation can be different, even if we're talking about neurotypicals too. And so it's, again, like you said, it's really tough in a group setting like that to individualize it. I mean, we can try our best, but it was really, really tough. So, and even when I think about when I teach group exercise classes now, probably to a fault, I try to individualize it a little bit too much. I know enough of everyone's different injuries or things that they have that I'm like, all right, we're doing this exercise, but if you have a shoulder injury, you can do this. If you have a leg injury, you can do this. And so I'm providing all of these options.
For every
Exactly.
person in the room.
Yeah. Right.
Huge for a group setting because now you don't have that person that's trying to chase someone else, right? That's trying to look like that person, or I need to lift more weight. And when you don't actually, because like you have this going on, right? You do have a shoulder injury, so you probably can't lift that over your head. And instead of hurting yourself, like I love that you said that. I love that we're touching on this because I did want to ask a little bit about the group fitness aspect of it. Were you doing group fitness when you were at like the corporate gym?
I was.
You were doing, okay.
So I'm probably teaching about the same amount of classes now that I was in corporate. So right now I teach about 8 classes a week. And I think we were probably doing between like 5 and 7 in corporate. And but I think now, because I've been doing it for almost 10 years, like it's a lot easier to find those modifications. And I think now, because I've also worked with people who are neurodivergent, to create an environment that is welcoming to everyone and making sure that everyone in my class knows that if you can't do what I'm saying, please don't leave, because there is something that you can still do. I don't ever want people to feel like they can't be a part of a fitness community or can't do something within fitness, because I've heard that from clients. Trainers have said that to them before, that, you know, they need to push through it or they need to go home, essentially, because there's no in between, but there is always an in between. You and I both know that very well.
Absolutely. So. And I've heard that as well before, where it's like, this is my way and this is the way I coach. And I totally can like understand that's for some people. But again, when we're trying to have like inclusivity, and what has even fitness become then, you know, like, is it about the ego and just like comparing ourselves in a competition? There is healthy competition. Don't get me wrong. There's healthy competition. But again, I think this definitely touches on where, you know, you kind of like stem from as well. It's like, it is for everyone. We all have a human body, and our goals for that might be different, right? And now that's where the healthy competition can come in and stuff. But it's like, to have an all or nothing mindset that this is the only way that you're capable of is such a disservice, I feel like, to the community. Such a disservice to how you're, you know what I mean? How we're trying to show up and help people. We are in preventative healthcare doing coaching, right? Like you are trying to help every single body. And so to say it has to be this way, well, right here again, are you including those injuries? Are you including the little nuances that make that person an individual? Because now it just takes away from a group essence also, right? Like group is supposed to be, it's a community, it's a connection, right? Yes, you're there for your individual self, but now we are trying to build like healthy connection. And so I just like, this is a wonderful conversation to have with you, right? Because it's just like, there are opposing sides to this point of view. And again, where is the happy balance in the middle, right? It doesn't have to be all one way or all the other. So I love this conversation so much. I'm like, this is just, there's so many little details that are like perfect for it and perfect for how you just coach and how you show up for everyone. So I do want to touch on how your group classes kind of are now. I know you said that you like to do those individual little sparks. Now, do you bring them through a crescendo, right? Or is every session that you do for group training a little different?
Yeah, every session is a little bit different. I like to keep things fresh, but what I do to kind of ease the brains a little bit, it's something that I've always done, but then once again, when I started working with the neurodivergent community, I was like, people really like to know what they're walking into. So even though every class is pretty much different, I bring in a whiteboard or like station whiteboards so that everything is all written out. Everyone can see ahead of time. I mean, if you go to, there's a lot of different workout studios that'll do something similar where they write the workout on the board. And so I do that so that when people come in, they know what to be prepared for. They also know what equipment to grab so that I don't have to set everything up myself, right? So then they can grab what they need. I'm not guessing what people need for that day. So so that's one other way that I kind of help people prepare to come into this space, and they're prepared, and then they can see what's going on if it's important to them. Some people walk in, they don't care, and they just want to socialize and talk to their friends, and that's totally fine. So, but I think keeping it fresh and the way that I plan it in case people are coming to multiple classes of mine for the weeks, I teach a variety of boot camps, strength classes, core, water aerobics. It's a whole big mess of everything.
Touching different areas.
But I always want to make sure that we're not overusing anything. If someone were to come to all of my classes or, half the classes, that we don't want overuse injuries or things like that. So just making sure that there's little things in there that are different enough so that if people are coming to the same classes, they're not hurting themselves. We want to try and avoid that as much as we can. So
for sure. But there's consideration and thought was kind of where I was getting to this. Even though you do have them like set up their own equipment, you do that. Like this is where I, as a, coming from like nursing background, I kind of think of the word delegate, and it's not that you're making your clients do what you are, but you have done that in a way that helps you now show up even more. And so this is where like I was getting a little bit more of your light and how you are as a coach, right? It's wonderful to do that. It's wonderful because now you are thinking about, okay, what about this client with injury, right? For their shoulder or their hip. But now you can go into the details about, okay, what clients are showing up more than once a week. So now that's like a layer on top of that workout. Like we still focused on this Monday workout, right? But now there's an extra thought behind it. And it's like, those are things that people don't see. And also a skill that I'm sure took I'm not saying 10 years, but like it probably, would you say that it was a little different when you were doing your group training sessions in corporate, right?
Absolutely. A lot of people in corporate, I found that there weren't as many injuries or chronic conditions just within the spaces that I was at. So everyone could pretty much do the same thing. Occasionally someone would be hurt, and so we'd have to modify something. But I'm finding with the population that I work with now, I'm finding a lot more injuries or chronic illnesses that, we're kind of training around, but definitely over time, like all of this knowledge, this skill, I'm so grateful for all of the experience that has led me up until now, and to be able to really use it to its fullest and help everyone feel like they have a safe place to come and work out.
Yeah. And again, thank you for giving that to the, to the community and everything, because we need more of that, more spaces. This is crazy, but like I could go to Planet Fitness LA or Crunch, and that is because of a long time of travel nursing, right? So he has my boyfriend has a membership, and so we can go to different ones, but it's like you see so many different things amongst trainers, which is why I wanted to hear a little bit about this, because the flavor now also is it seems like it's a little more self-trainer is tongue twister. The trainer is creating the program, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily like it's a cookie cutter cut and paste. We do it this way. But I do know that that was not always the case. And so now 10 years ago, was it like that? Like did they kind of have a group session and they're like, you're doing HIIT on this day, and these are like the moves that we want to see you do? Or was there a trial phase for you, right? Where you had to show them what type of exercises you were going to do in your group session? Did you even have to go through that process? Or was that not something that you experienced?
In the places that I taught, I didn't really have that experience. It was mostly, I think I came in at a good time because it was like the the 2010s kind of was when I kind of started, like late 2010s. And the corporate jobs that I was going into was more, I think, looking for, do you have the skills to create a decent workout? And, do you have the ability to modify, and do you have the personality to, be able to create this community and to maintain it? Are people going to want to come, things like that. So I think, thankfully, I think that was, more of what I experienced, and which I think is good. But and I'm not saying I was perfect when I first started. Like we all, learned and grew, and I'm thankful for all the people that were around me during that time that watched me, suffer through. And also, like I went through, it's so embarrassing to think back to college when I literally took a class on how to like plan a group exercise session. And boy, if I didn't fail, I didn't fail the class, but like I remember specifically there was one exercise I was trying to demonstrate, and I couldn't even do it. And everyone in the class, I did it, and I looked up at everybody because it was just like just me, and they all took notes, and I was like, shoot, I messed that up, but I never messed up like that again, right?
Oh,
so that's where I think like having this education and this background is so important, because there are trainers, and it's okay. There are places for both trainers, but like I have a bachelor's degree in exercise science, and I have a certification as an exercise physiologist and a certification for group exercise. And there are some trainers who have maybe like a certification that doesn't take quite as long, which is totally fine. There are spaces for both, but like that is, I think one benefit to having this background is I got to be embarrassed in a safe place with peers, as opposed to, maybe hurting someone or messing up within, with a client. So
yeah, you were exposed to the experience just in a different way to almost learn from a mistake, right? Because that is so backwards, right? But it's like we learn the best from the mistakes we make because we never want to make them again type of thing. And so that is good though. I love that you spoke on that because sometimes people are coming in and they have just done like, again, there's nothing wrong with it, but like they haven't gone through all of that like clinical work is what I would call it, right? Or just like having to do those like proctored hours where you're practicing to show up and do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, this is where I come back to like, although that was a struggle, you love that struggle, right? Like that has made you into the better, like, and so the point of that is it's okay when we fall down as long as we get back up when we try again and we work through those tough things. So it's like, that is one, I'm sure, of just like a few of your experience, right? Like I'm just thinking of me and I'm like, if that's how you're talking about it, that's just one of them, right? And that's okay too. That's wonderful. But does any other experience stick out to you that you feel like still to this day you work with clients and you're like, I've always brought this with me? Does that make like I see it, I touch it week to week or month to month, right? Is there anything that you can think of that, you've brought with you up to this point?
Yeah, I think so when I was younger, the way that I got into personal training at all was I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. So I was on the dance team, I played soccer, and I ran cross country. So I was always injured and I would go into the athletic trainer's office and I was like, that can be a job, like that's so cool. And so that's kind of what got me into it. But even within like PE class, having to go into the weight room, and I was small growing up, I wasn't very strong. That's why I did, the sports that I did, because I wasn't good at basketball, volleyball. I wasn't like those girls. And going into a weight room and feeling just so like not confident and scared to try and bench press the bar because I couldn't do it and I didn't want to be embarrassed. And those experiences, I would go to the treadmill because I knew that I could run. And that feeling of not knowing what to do, feeling uncomfortable, afraid of being embarrassed, I never wanted people to feel like that when they wanted to come in and do exercise. So I tend to work more with beginners. I work with people, of all varying abilities now, but specifically beginners, it's so important for me that they feel confident in their movements, that they feel like they can go to the gym, they know exactly what they're doing, they're not nervous, they're not embarrassed, because it's one of the worst things, and it's something that'll stop someone from continuing their health journey. Is if they go somewhere and they feel embarrassed or they feel out of place. And so I never want people to feel like that because I know what that feels like. It's not nice.
No, I love so much I'm like, I don't love that, but also I do because you're such a strong woman for it. Of course you are. Absolutely. It makes me think of my own experiences. And I was also a 3-sport athlete. But there have been times where right here with like the ego and having to show up, and I was a very large child. So like I struggle with more like of a body image in that regard of just, not being as capable as other people to run as fast or to jump as high or to, whatever it was. Right. But then when it became that it started to benefit me, like in soccer, and I can kick the ball really far, right? Now I almost didn't necessarily have someone in my life as a teenage girl, right, to work me through that. So then it went like to more of an ego side of things where you're so, and it's like, I've had to learn over the years, because then it's almost like I feel like this is where I believe in karma, whatever, but like the experience comes back to me where now I have to face that again almost, right? You keep learning the lesson until you actually learn it. And so my point here is like I've had moments in, my earlier 20s where I would show up at the gym and I wanted to do that movement so bad that if I didn't know how to do that, like use that machine, I was not about to go over there and act like I didn't know how to do it, right? And what a disservice now, even to my poor little child heart, right? Like I think back to it and I wouldn't do that now. And I love this conversation because I hope everyone can listen to this and hear that we are all so deserving. And if we don't know how to do something, that's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And if someone's judging you, like they have their own issues and their own judgments about themselves that they are dealing with, right? Because that is always what it comes down to at the end of the day. And it's like, man, I want you to feel encouraged to go ask someone what this machine does, because I feel like that's also something that is kind of coming back a little bit. I'll see it here and there where people are not necessarily as afraid to ask. Yes, there's still hesitation and stuff, right? But a little bit more comfortability and like, hey, I don't know how to do this. And I love seeing that, right? But more of it, because the person who is too afraid still to like go do it, now they're not going to move their body in the way, you know, just because there's like a little, it's not even knowledge. They just don't know what they don't know, right? It's not even that they know it and they don't know how to do it still. It's like they just have no idea. Like they've never been taught it before. And again, we all deserve that. We are kids playing in this world, right? Every day. And like we should all be able to move our body. And so I love that we just had this little like moment to touch on this, because again, there's not everyone has gone through that, but there are people, you know, like I see you.
Yeah, and I love it from both sides too. Like from, you know, from the one side who was small and scared, and from the side who maybe struggled with body issues. Like we both come from the same place, that same place of fear. And I think that's it's going to hinder everybody. And I think more people in the gym are nicer than people make it out to be. Like on social media, gym people seem so scary, but really, like if you have a question about how to use something, more often than not, someone's going to be more than happy to show you, because it means that you trust them, right?
I'm cheesing because I'm like, but even before I was a personal trainer, right? If someone asked me how to do something, I would be so excited. Like for me, I love seeing someone else be able to achieve something, because the capability, right? But we know you're capable. You are are as human as someone else is. You are capable. And so to see them work through that, because again, you know, you can't do it for them. Like you can guide them, and we can do the coaching, and we're there for all those things. But like at the end of the day, I can't move your body for you. Like you have that power to do that, right? And like, I love lighting up someone's, you know, I love making, because then it's like, it feels so good to know that someone else is just like, they accomplished something, and I could walk out of here and like, there's nothing else to my day that this is. It's just from seeing someone else be successful. And I think this so goes back, and just who I see you as a person is there's nothing to take away from you, right? Like you succeeding or someone else succeeding is not going to take there's no give and take there. Like we all get to win type of feel, because we all win in our own ways and we all have our own goals. So at the end of the day, it's like, just feel good in that body. So I'm like, I love that we got to touch on that, because that is something I think that is so important. And also just how you show up as a coach, right? Because I'm sure this is very exciting. You've created a wonderful community, right? But there are probably still some people that are a little like hesitant to step in. And it's like you just being you, and this energy, and even having real conversations about your own like places that you have struggled with this, right? Welcome, please come in, right? Like, please come sit at my table, because more people need that too. I'm such a big into like, I've always been, but like connection and community have resonated so much the last couple of years for me, and just a deeper layer that we're all humans, right? We all like just seeing people a little bit deeper, if you will. And I think we need more of this. So I love that we're here sitting down. I love that we're talking about this. And we're going so light here and everything. I do want to talk a little bit about how you're servicing now. I know that you're doing one-on-ones and your group coaching. What would you say that your day-to-day is kind of like right now? I know you told me about your day-to-day, and Mondays are busy for you, but like, how does your week kind of flow, and how do you manage it?
I love that my day-to-days are different. So I think that's one of the best things about like personal training, is because, you know, people have their schedules. And so I see certain people on certain days. And so I kind of know what my day is going to look like week to week, but it can change kind of every day. So right now I still have like a part-time job that I'm working as well. So like which is, I think, coming to an end. So, but it's fun, because it's like, I can start my day with a client. I can teach a couple classes, and then I have like clients after that. But I think the best part for me is like, I am always looking forward to seeing everybody. Like I'm never looking at my schedule and going, oh my God, like I do not want to go see that person. Like I think, yes, like cultivating a community and finding the people who, you know, we vibe really well together.
Like meant to work together.
Yeah. And, you know, and I think that's one of the best parts of it. And so, you know, like my Wednesdays and Fridays are usually a little bit more open, which I love. Like a Wednesday halfway through the week to just have some space to just be is crazy. Yeah. And then now on Fridays, like I'm done around noon and I can do whatever with my day. Is so amazing. But it also
pump when you do that Wednesday, like little
exactly.
Like,
it's rejuvenating.
I'm like, please keep going.
Yes.
I'm like, I want to touch that. I love that idea. That's very good. Yeah.
But it also leaves space for more clients. So yeah, like you said, I do one-on-one personal training. I do offer group training, and I do virtual as well as like a 3-month program that then leads to like a month-to-month for people who just need help creating the program and can do it on their own. So the variety also, like we talked about earlier, like my brain likes variety. So it's not just one-on-ones all day. Like it's the one-on-ones. And then I have the group training. So then I'm teaching a class. And so it's a group aspect. And then it's just, I'm also an extrovert, if you can't tell, extrovert. And so I'm being filled like all throughout the week by these interactions with all these people. And so it is
schedule that actually feels good for you and feels aligned. I love hearing this. Don't know why recently, but like just thinking about the periods, like the block periods in school that we had. We're talking about like high school, right? And it's like, you know, some subjects, I'm sure much like, I don't know, everyone kind of has a subject they like and don't like, right? You get excited to go to that one subject, but then if you don't have it back to back with another class you're like, you're just checked out for the day, right? And so we almost take those patterns into the corporate world, right? Like you're checking off, okay, I hit this hour. Okay, I did these clients. Like it's such a surface level to the deeper layer of filling your own cup. And you know, the saying is true. And I know you know this now. It's like, when you love what you do, you don't feel like you work a day at all. And it's like, yes, we're still working through some of those nuances, right? Of those little like deeper layers. But nonetheless, this I'm sure does feel much better than working a full-time, like, you know, you just like, you have more freedom, like you said before, like just freer internally to be able to do what you want to do. So I love that.
But you do touch on a really good point within corporate. That's why corporate wellness programs are so important within corporate, because what we provided for those businesses and for those employees was that space and that time throughout the day to come and refill their cup and recharge. Whether it was, you know, some corporate wellness like practices have like a restroom where they have like massage chairs, or they just have like some dim lights where you can just breathe and meditate or pray, and or you can come and take a group exercise class. Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's HIIT. Everybody needs something different, and that's where corporate wellness really does make a difference. And you see a big difference between the companies that offer corporate wellness and the ones that don't. I mean, the ones that have corporate wellness, you can still definitely see the burnout, but I think that it's a little bit less, or a little bit more manageable when you have that space for those people, because like you said, otherwise it's just all day, those ups and downs, and you can't find that time to regulate. Your favorite word, regulate.
It is like we do need it. Everyone needs it as part of our day. And I love that you kind of brought that up, because that was something that I wasn't necessarily hinting at in this right now, but it's so important and so valuable, because it is. I remember in nursing school and my clinicals, I would always see they would do like Reiki sessions. They would always have them set up in there. And I remember that kind of was what just, you know, understanding holistic and stuff. But as now we've come fast forward, right, a good 10 plus years here as well, it is so necessary because they love their job. It doesn't mean that they don't love their job or that they're not happy in their role and stuff, but like they, again, are still humans, and humans need a break. Like we do need a pause. We're not meant to go 60 miles an hour, 24/7, 7 days a week. And we have gotten to such a place where everything is so fast paced. So go, go, go. We need to do this, this, and this, that allowing that just teaches us to bring it back in. And now the business, this is something I actually just did an event. We went to an event a couple weeks ago, and I was that's how I was telling people is like, we're lifting you up to feel that balance and that regulation, because then you can now, when your cup is filled, right, and you're feeling good, imagine what your team now looks like, or what your business looks like, right? It's flourishing, it's booming, because it's coming from the inside out. Like you are the leader, like, you know, you're the guy, you're the person in charge of everything, right? Like this is internal to external type of thing. If you just think you're going to keep pushing and going, like, it might work for a good time, but there will eventually be a place where that train track is going to say, skirt, we're taking a detour. And like,
that's such a good point.
You know, but it's like, I love that, you know, you did need to say that. And I'm glad that you did say that, because it doesn't matter what role you're in. We all do have that capability for one, but we're all deserving of it. It doesn't matter what position you're in. It doesn't matter how many jobs you hold, right? Like, there has to be a place to be able to hold yourself, because eventually, again, like, you know, you run empty, you want to run full, you want to run in full. So yes. Now I do want to, I keep saying I do, but I have so many other little things that I love talking to you about, and I want to talk to you about when you are doing I want to bring it back to your schedule a little bit, and just like how you do your day to day. Do you even try to, because again, this is like just little tidbits that someone can think of that they would run off with, right, in their own ways. When you build your schedule, Do you feel like also that is something that's taken a couple of years to find like, okay, I like the one-on-ones in the morning, or I like the group, you know what I'm saying? Or is it more of a group session in the morning? Like how long did it take you to play? Cause that's being real, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes that can take 6 months to a year to really find the like jive that you like. When do you think you started thinking about it? And then how, till you got to that point where you're feeling like, okay, I like this schedule, right? Like how did that kind of work for you?
Yeah. So it's better now. When I first started the business, I would say yes to everything. I think a lot of business owners can relate. And even depending, no matter how far you are in the business, some people still say yes to everything. I am so grateful that I started saying no to things. Probably about a year ago is when I started thinking about it, and 6 months ago is when I started implementing it. So I live in Clearwater. We're in Tampa right now, and I have clients in Tampa. And so I was having a really hard time coming to Tampa frequently, especially living in Clearwater. So I used to live in Tampa. So my Tampa clients made sense. And then I moved to Clearwater, and driving an hour and a half sometimes with the traffic one way was really difficult. And I was finding that it was really hard on me emotionally, mentally, physically. Sitting in a car for that long is crazy. And also took a lot of time away from other things that I could be doing, time spent with my husband. So about 6 months ago, I started making some changes and, was able to kind of work my schedule. So I still have clients in Tampa. I come to Tampa twice a week, which I kind of try to stack everybody that is in Tampa so that everybody is in the same area around the same time, which is really great that my clients have that flexibility and are willing to work with me like that. But that I think has been one of the best things and has really made me feel like it's just a lot more open, a lot more free, and opened me up to a lot more opportunities as well, which has been really rewarding. So, as much as it sucks to like lose some clients, due to schedule change or whatever, or it really was beneficial. So like it felt icky in the moment, but like looking back now, it's tenfold. I'm feeling so much better.
No,
So
that is beautiful and wonderful how you just definitely the icky part to feeling great now, because that is a challenge that you faced, and definitely can say that I have faced it too, for sure. And again, where I want to touch on is it doesn't feel comfortable to make those decisions, does not feel comfortable. And I also love that you touched on saying no instead of yes all the time, because as we do this role and we start to get to that point where, okay, I'm burning out an hour and a half one way. It's not that I don't love my clients. It has nothing to do with that aspect. It's about how I'm filling my cup and what I just also know fills my cup, right? And what I could do in that time. That this now I'm feeling where there's a stick in the road and I need to pick it up and move it which way I want to, right?
Yeah.
But now there's a deeper layer there, because now what you said in holding boundaries, right? And saying no and honoring your word when like, this is what I mean, even though the old pattern would have said do it all and get, because girl, yes, absolutely. Like, please sign me up. Let me do it. Yes, 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 yes. I have been working through this, the last like 6 months to a year, because again, same. I want everyone to be happy. I'm just like peacemaker. I'm worked through a lot of people pleasing here, right? So that word no had to really get strong and like where it comes from. And again, still here trying to start something new. You want it to work. So of course I'm saying all of the yeses, right? But I do realize that there gets to a point, okay, we're spinning, but we're not spinning forward. We're just stalled in a loop, right?
That's
Like
exactly
it's just,
it.
how do I get out of like this pattern? And so again, though, it's icky feeling. It doesn't feel great, especially when you're someone, for me, like I was definitely, again, this is a lot of work with like how you're saying therapy and all of that, right? Is like not people pleasing, not managing everyone else's emotions. That's very much where I have had to work through, right? And so icky is a great word to say that, because it's uncomfortable and it's the right thing to do for yourself, but you don't want to hurt anyone. You're not, but like that voice inside your head is saying you're doing something wrong, or like this is not how and so there's such a deeper layer to that again, I want to touch on it. I love that we touched on this, because that is something that I'm sure many of us face, that we think we're all alone in that, dealing with that. And it's like, holding a boundary, you know, especially for me, like someone boundary when I was a kid, it's like, you're just, you know, you're mean, you're rude, like you're whatever, right? And now I'm realizing as an adult, this is what our parents were talking about, right? When they're like, you'll see when you get older, you'll see when you're a woman. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it now, because no, exactly. You're just not going to deal with that. I'm not going to be pushed over, because now my cup just fell over, right? And now it's draining more than it's being lifted up. And so I think that is definitely a conquer battle that we have to face when we're becoming entrepreneurs, because same thing, 2 years ago, I was running all the way out to Lakeland. I was driving like the hour and a half to, for clients and stuff. Brutal. And it's like, you get to a point where you're like, okay, it's not that I don't love these clients. What I kept saying to myself is I wish I could pick them up and move them 10 minutes away instead of an hour away is what I wish. Like I loved working with them. And at that point I was doing virtual. These clients just did not want virtual. And again, right here is where seeing them as a whole person, and all the people that they had encountered that far that were not seeing them as a whole person and just wanting so desperately to help, right? Like I've really had to work on my, you know, boundaries here though, in a respectful way where it's not, I've, you know, raised on do no harm type of thought process, right? But again, what works for both people, right? Now is where I've gotten to the comfortability, and why I love doing this and I love talking to other people, because if there is someone that's an hour away that not necessarily can work with me and they don't want online, and I'm not necessarily just doing straight personal training anymore, right? But now I know someone that lives near you. I trust, I've got to know you. I've built a relationship with you. So happy to be like, I think this person where, you know, like this is where like we do fill each other's cups too, and connection and community and everything, because I wish I had that back then. And that's why I told you the last couple of years too, I've been so big in connection and community, is because I was getting to that place where I needed to uphold my own boundaries and like say no to certain things, but I didn't have anywhere for those people to go. And so it was very hard for me to even do that, right? Because now I feel like I'm just leaving you kind of high and dry and hanging, and that's not my mojo at all. So again, I don't mean to bring this on to me as much, but I love that you're touching on this, because it is hard to work through that to get to the place where you do have your schedule the way you want it and it's built, you know, it works, but it does take time. It took you like 6 months to a year to really, you know, you said it took you 6 months to even just think about what you wanted to do, right? To get to that comfortable place. And like, that's still work. That's where you're saying, you know, when someone has whatever they're dealing with, like you can still show up, we can do something. That is huge. I don't know the nuances behind that and like the deeper details, but like you were doing something every single second in those first, you know, in the first chapter of it. Of course you were, because like the mindset work and just like how you're even thinking about those patterns and all of that, they come up. We're human, right? We're just like working through things, and we've also never had these experiences before. You weren't having to drive from Clearwater before. Like that is something new. Yes, benefiting your life in so many other ways, but now like we adapt. As entrepreneurs, we have to be able to just kind of, you know, like go with the flow if you will, but again, here with that type of brain, like we need to stay on, and I need to have a structure. I need to know what my schedule is going to look like. So very much see you, very much love this conversation so much. So you come over to Tampa 2 times a week. Are your other clients in Clearwater?
Pinellas County.
Okay. I'm like, I know you did mention this to me, but I couldn't, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, no, you're fine. And it's also so funny that you said, so, okay, you brought up, setting boundaries, and it made me want to vomit. So I'm like, oh God, thinking about setting a boundary, like literally still evokes like that same feeling, right? But those clients that I had in like Tampa that were too far, that are still out of my range, I actually did find someone. I knew someone from a previous job who I was able to pass them on to. So I love that you bring up that connection piece and like growing that network of other trainers, right? Like we can't be on an island by ourselves. Like that doesn't benefit anybody, specifically ourselves. Like that's not going to help us if we're like, you might think like if I'm a trainer by myself, like I don't need anybody else. Like, no, we genuinely do need each other. Number one, because we understand each other, and like it feels so much better to not feel alone in it. And also because, you know, if you believe in karma, like sharing the love and like you said earlier, like helping all of us win. Right. So anyways, all that to say, yes, all of my other clients right now are in like Pinellas County and like Tampa, like just on the outskirts of like Pinellas County. So like I might have to just cross over like to the, you know, the Franklin Howard. I never know what bridge it is. Or like just at the top, like kind of at the top of Tampa to just still within like pretty close to Pinellas County. So I've you know, curated it in a way. And now, you know, for the future, I tell people I will train one-on-one in person within Pinellas County. Otherwise, I have these virtual options as well. So it really is, it's about not having like that scarcity mindset, because I think that's what kind of holds us back. And it's, when I lost the clients that were too far, I found clients within, my driving radius that I was able to then pull in that I had the time for. So, yeah, it all comes around how it's supposed to. Everything works out how it's supposed to. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, especially when you're running a business, but I think it really does all, kind of come together in the end.
It does. You just wrap that up so beautifully. I'm like, that was so good. But what I did like note on that, and I want to say so people hear it again, is like, it comes back to the point of like, you have to let some things go in order to bring new things in, and what is aligned for you in this journey. And like, you're happy where you live in Clearwater, and you're happy, your husband, your life, all of that. That yes, work should be, it's a complement, like they're complementary. They're all aspects of us, but it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice one for the other. And so even in that, right, everything you just said is you've gotten to that place of balance where I don't have to sacrifice these things in order to have the ladder of what I want. And again, it doesn't mean that like there's no love lost with those clients either, right? Like there's nothing bad happened to them. They're still out there. And the point that like you did try to, you did try to make it work for them in some way, shape, or form. And that also shows them that you are upholding your own boundaries too, right? I think a lot of your clients, I would, right? I respect that. Like that's just like a great like quality to have, it gives me the word like humble, and just like, I don't have to do it all. But yes, we're all capable of all of the things, right? But like, we don't have to do all of those. We stay in the lane of what we want. And this is where it does start to work out the way. We bite off. I don't know about you, but like bite off a lot of things because I'm interested in it and I love it and I'm very fascinated in it, right? But that like need is where we want to be, that sweet spot of like, this works for me. Yes, I have all these other beautiful qualities and things, right? But like, this is what I like to do. I think that you have just wrapped this up, that you have just found the sweet spot for you and you're loving it so much. So how do you kind of see, like, where are you trying to take this in the next couple of years? Do you foresee yourself continuing doing one-on-ones and group coaching, or do you have other plans to evolve? However, I'm just curious.
Yeah, right now I'm comfortable. I'm optimistic about where I am. So it's so funny. I'm pretty much 100% referrals. I'm like word of mouth, which I love, especially because I'm mostly local. I don't plan on running any like paid ads or anything. I'm just going to kind of see what happens. I am, at that place again, trying to take on more like of an abundance mindset where what's meant to be will be. And, there's people out there who know me, who like me, who want to share, what I do with other people. And like right now I'm comfortable with the amount of people that I'm taking on. I could take on more, but I'm kind of just sitting for the first time, I think, in the 3 years that I've had my business. I'm really just trying to enjoy it and take it in and not stress about where am I going to get my next client from. Like, I think that's a big thing for trainers is like, where am I going to get more clients from? They don't just pop out of thin air. Sometimes they do, but we can't make that happen. So yeah, right now I just focusing on continuing to do one-on-ones, teaching classes, and yeah, that's it for the foreseeable future, and I'm really happy with it.
I love it. I'm happy for you, because what I was just about to say is it's a beautiful place to be in. Like that
it's also rare in business.
Exactly. I was like, that is very rare, and like it's a beautiful, beautiful place to be in, because like, girl, like just gives you now, right? Like, it's like, I don't have to think about my business and work anymore. It's a part of the wave. It's part of the flow, right? And now this also gives you just areas to open up in your,
exactly.
What I mean? You connect with more people. You get to do more
I get to
things
spend
that
time
you
with
love.
you.
Yes, exactly. Like, we get to hang out. We get to do things. And it's like, that is so... It's so amazing that you have done this journey thus far, that you are going to continue to do it, and the way that you serve everyone. I just am so grateful to be able to get to know you and start to build this relationship, because again, so I just see you. I'm like, I know we've had like the handful and we met a couple of months ago here, right? But it's like, I'm so grateful to be able to sit down next to someone. And again, right here with the referrals and everything, it's just so nice to have people in the world that are other, because I do want to touch on this, like coming from nursing, right? Like team, but also like where I come from, operating room, you're the only nurse in the room. You're like, there's not two, it's one nurse, one doctor, it's all like that. And so team aspect, yes. But now I'm out in the world and I just like, I want my team of people that it's like, it doesn't mean you do every case together either, right? Like I worked with them on one patient and now I go to another patient and I'm with a completely different group of people. I'm the only same person from the, it's like, that is how I'm used to just kind of working. That's where a lot of my experiences come in healthcare, right? And so again, I'm so grateful to know you and to be here with you because I see that in you. I'm like, I definitely see you as a team player. And this brings it back to like, we do need other personal trainers and other coaches out there in the world. It doesn't mean that you have to, it's awesome. I think this is so cool with the groups, but like, you don't have to sit down and meet every single week for it to still be like a relationship where you can connect. Or also like, I'm kind of like this. If you have a question and we haven't talked in a month or two, it's okay to still reach out. Like, I'm not going to be bothered by it. Like, please, I welcome that because like, hey girl, how are you again? You know what I mean? And like, also like, yes, because you're helping someone. And like, at the end of the day, that is what I'm, that's where I'm part of my flow here. That fills my cup. So I love this so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Where can our clients find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, mostly Facebook and Instagram, at Coach Abby Clapper. You can also find my website. It's Endorphin Wellness, ENDORFIN, wellness.com. There's also a free resource on there. If you go to the free resources tab, you can start building your own workout from there if you want to start somewhere. So yeah, take a look around, and I'm happy to connect with anybody if you have any questions or anything. Yeah, I love it. And I love that we got to have this conversation.
Yes, me too. I do want to finish out this episode. What is one thing that you want to I love that you did this, debunk or demyth within health and fitness? What is one thing that you just wish that people understood or knew that, has been a way or a thought, but it's not necessarily like that?
Yeah, fitness is for every body and brain, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if you feel like you're not the fitness person. I put fitness in quotations. Fitness is for everybody, and it's just about finding what's going to work for you, and it's going to look different for everybody. If you like to run, then run. If you like to swim, then swim. If you like doing, legs, then start with legs. Just start by finding something that you look forward to doing and start there, and then you can always build. And it doesn't have to look a certain way, and it doesn't have to be scary.
I couldn't agree with that anymore. Thank you for sharing that. If this episode resonated with you or someone that you may know, please, you can download the full episode of Connecting the Thoughts, episode number 8 with Abby Clapper. Thank you.
Thank you.